Okay, here we Okay, hi. And let me just get ready here. And we are, let's see. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Please remember to like, comment, and share. Someone may benefit from the topic discussed today, and we've got a juicy topic that I know you'll love. Welcome to episode 22 of Extraordinary Women of Guts and Grace. I'm Evelyn Cosme, your leadership strategist for life and work, guiding executive women to take control of their lives and business through self-leadership for sustainable joy and success. And our topic for today is fascinating: the empowerment of women in a most captivating way. Our guest today is truly a woman of guts and grace because of the line of work that she does. Argentina Leyva, a woman's empowerment coach, a boudoir photographer, and the owner of the Art of Seduction Boudoir in Chicago and also in Austin, Texas. Welcome, Argentina. Thanks so much for taking time. I know you have a really busy schedule, and I appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Evelyn. I will always make time, to help women any way I can. And yes, I'm busy, but I'm delighted to be here and, very committed to really sharing my experiences and see whose heart I can touch.
And I'm sure you will, because it's the very extraordinary way that you do that with your work. Now, to begin with, I always ask all of my guests, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was it that little Argentina played with? And did it relate in any way to who you've become today?
I wanted to be a vet.
Oh, really?
I wanted to be a vet because I grew up with horses and my dad had horses. And, my dad said that, one day we were going to have a ranch. So it's like, great, I'll be the vet for all our horses. And then, you grow up and then you realize that I'm going to starve to death if I become a vet, at least in Mexico, because I'm from Mexico.
Uh-huh.
So, so it's very, very interesting that you asked me this question because it is really amazing how my life turned out to be even better than I imagined.
Oh,
As a little girl, once I realized that I was not going to be a vet, I didn't really specifically knew what I wanted to be. However, I imagine, I visualized how I wanted to feel and what my life will look like. And I imagine myself, being successful, doing something very meaningful, living in a big city, helping others, and traveling, and just having this fabulous career that gave me a lot of significance. I didn't know what it was going to be. Um, but I fantasized about that as a little girl. And then it was time to go to college. And there was only one thing I knew: I didn't want to be broke.
hey, man.
So it's
I'm
like,
with
okay,
you
what
there.
pays a good salary? And engineering, okay, I can do math, I can do chemistry and physics and all that. I'll go to engineering. I have no idea what that is. I'll figure out on the way, but they pay good salary. So I went to engineering school. And after that, I went and got my master's degree. I got a scholarship to go to Georgia Tech. And I continue in that path. And I tried to make it my passion and my life's journey, and to really find my happiness, doing engineering. And once I graduated and got a real job, I was like, that's it. Now what? So years went by, a lot of things happened in my life, but I continue having this feeling of having a very fulfilling life. And even though my job was great, the people was great, I was not really passionate about it. I wasn't even inclined to continue climbing that corporate ladder, even though
Mhm.
it was a big company, and there were a lot of opportunities, but I really still wanted to have this significant, exciting life. And I knew it's not engineering. It might be here, but it might be in a different company. I don't know. And then one day, life hits you, in different ways. And in
Mm-hmm.
order to stay sane and kind of like put myself together, I needed to keep busy. And I picked up photography as a hobby. And that led me to have a small side business as a wedding photographer. And I enjoyed that. It gave me, almost like a double income, really. But I knew that it wasn't also my end journey, my life mission, because I knew that my body just could not continue doing weddings, into older age. It's very demanding physically.
Really, yes.
Um, so I did it for a while, and but I never quit my job. I continued doing my job. It was something that I did on the weekends. I had fun. Sometimes it was tiring. Sometimes it was a little bit frustrating, but I continued doing it. And then one day, and I think it's just the universe, knows when you are ready to receive. And then I ran into boudoir photography. Boudoir photography came into my life in the form of my brides. They um, they are the ones that introduced me to boudoir photography. They asked me to do their sessions, and I fell in love with that. Not right away. I'm by that time I'm already 37. I've been divorced twice. Had no children, and a career that is not very fulfilling. And I really don't know. Okay, I'm close to the half of my life, and this is not where I thought I would be by the time I'm 40. That was kind of like my timeline. And um and, and when I started to do boudoir photography, it never occurred to me that I could do something like that. I thought it's photography for young beautiful brides, not a mature woman that has a bigger, more voluptuous body,
Right.
is not perfect, doesn't look like a model. But with time I started to get older type of women, more mature women into the studio. And
Wow.
I saw how transformed they were when they saw themselves looking absolutely beautiful, when for years they had been struggling to feel beautiful and to feel good about themselves because their body changed after pregnancy or accidents, or they always been plus size women, things like that. And they were just embracing themselves. And I thought that was so powerful for a woman to make a decision to love herself. And that's when I look at my life, is like I have not embraced myself for years because I struggled with my own body image since I was 17, when my mother announced to the world that I was fat and no man would marry me because I was fat.
Oh my.
So, there's always those points in your life that really define you as a person.
Yes, of course.
And so I decided to do my first session because I wanted to feel the same way that these women did. And it was life changing for me.
So
And
that's your big why then,
that was my big
your
why.
own personal
Ab-
issues and the way your body image, your self image. And a lot of the people that get into any kind of business, especially services, there's always this big why behind it. With
Mhm.
products, if it's, for instance, a food product, a grandmother's recipe or something like that, that's a big why. But when it comes to services, people share amazing stories. So please keep sharing about yourself and how that transformed your vision of Argentina.
My own transformation, being able to see myself beautiful really for the first time in my life and sexy, it was so powerful because I always felt very inadequate, and I always felt that um my life, the results in my life, being divorced twice, not having been able to have men that could really see me and appreciate me, that I had to leave them. that it was the result because I wasn't attractive enough, that the good guys go for skinny younger girls, not somebody like me. And when I saw those pictures, I was like, what the hell is not going to want me? Look at me. I look like a model. I realized it had nothing to do with my looks. And so the turning point of this story was about 8 months later, when I went about my life, continued photographing women. I was feeling great, but I really wasn't paying attention of my transformation until one day there was this guy in social media who started to publicly body shame me and call
Oh,
me fat and telling me I should be ashamed of, doing this type of photography, that I should set the example and look great and lose weight to inspire other women. And I thought, instead of being like mad, upset, and trying to get back at him, I was just like, really? It's like, and I replied to him, what do you mean I'm fat? I'm not fat. I'm delicious. And that was the moment that where my life started over again, because that was the moment that I realized that boudoir photography was such a transformative tool for women, that I wanted, that my life had been so transformed, because a year ago I couldn't take a compliment, somebody calling me beautiful. Now there's somebody who's trying to on purpose hurt me, and I am untouchable. He cannot touch me. I'm
how
so
wonderful.
strong and so
Mhm.
defined by my own terms and not his opinion. That is like, women need to do this. And that's when it's like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is what is going to give me significance. This is my gift. And photography was just a natural talent for me. It was just, I just didn't know how to give it away. And I finally found a way to give it away. And about less than a year later, I had quit my job. I found the perfect timing. To leave my job, open up a studio, and it's been now what, 8 years since I quit my
Oh,
job
really? Wow.
completely. But I still did it for a while, both ways, and and then it's been now and never look back, and it gets better every year, because the stories of transformation that I get from my own clients, we all want to be significant in life, and I think that was my dream as a little child, to have a very significant and meaningful life. And I know that a lot of people think about being famous, but it's not what we're looking to be famous. What we're looking for is to have significance, meaning in our lives. And our careers is 60% of our time in this
Mhm.
world. We better make it meaningful and give us significance. So that's the short story.
And then Argentina, I think that and I've looked at the pictures and some of the testimonials on your website, and I encourage everyone to go to her website. Could you share the website address now? And we'll post it in the comments below the video so that people can reach out if they wish to.
Yeah, you can go to just argentinaleyva.com, or you can go directly to the photography page, which is Art of Seduction Chicago.com. Either one of those will take you to the whole journey.
And from seeing that, because I can tell that the women are transformed. They're so happy. And I saw one testimonial of one woman. She was looking through her picture book, because you put them in picture books, and they're able to flip through it, and you could just see the joy in her face, and how she was feeling about it. Now, what usually brings a woman to reach out to you for boudoir photography?
Everybody, you can imagine, all the stories that I hear. And a lot of them are trying to find a reason to give permission to themselves to take these pictures, because we feel that otherwise we're being vain. So it's my husband's birthday, or it's a Christmas present for my husband, or it's his or it's a Father's Day, or it's our anniversary. They're always trying to put it on somebody else instead of admitting, I just want to do it for myself. And then I do have women is like, I'm 50, I'm fabulous. Or I just got out of a terrible experience, a terrible divorce, a breakup, and I want to rebuild myself, my confidence, and I want to feel beautiful and worthy again, and reconnect with me and my femininity. I just had babies and my body is different. I need to accept my new body. Or I just had, weight loss surgery, and my skin is hanging from all this weight loss, and I'm having more trouble accepting my body now than when it was big, and I need to learn to see myself in a different way. At the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing. We
Mhm.
want to feel beautiful and that we are good enough just as we are, because
Absolutely.
that means that if we are good enough, then we are lovable, that we can belong, we can be seen, we can be loved and accepted. And it's this is the number one um, human need, the need for acceptance. And in our society, unfortunately, we have been defined by our looks since caveman time. You had to be some sort of attractive to get a caveman to look at you and protect you from the offspring. So you need to attract men. So it really is an instinctive need that we have. It's not vanity, it's biology. And our brain just didn't get the memo that we are not going to be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger anymore. But we still have this fear about being abandoned, being not being liked, being cheated on, being of dying alone. And for us, it's a primal need to know that we are beautiful and attractive and desirable, to get the attention from a man, to be accepted into our tribe, into our family, to not be the outcast, because our brain is always trying to protect us from dying. And if we are alone, our brain is like, you're going to die, you're alone, you're going to starve, because it comes from survival instincts. So that's how we get into bad relationships and abusive, and we lose our self-respect, and we put up with crap and mistreatment, and our low self-esteem goes into the ground, and we sacrifice ourselves just to belong somewhere, because our brain is pushing us for survival. The
and
moment that
and
we understand that is the moment that we can start trying to fight back and recover ourselves. And boudoir photography is just a great tool to go into the core of that primal belief and the primal need that we have.
and I can see that from just looking at your website. The photos are extraordinary. They have a lot of finesse, very beautiful. Now I would imagine that this category of photography can bring a level of controversy. Like you already mentioned, someone saw your photography and mentioned you, and that you shouldn't be doing this type of photography. How did your family take it? I mean, here you are, a graduate of engineering, you had your work for a few years, and yes, while you were doing weddings, it's a whole different thing. But going into the field of a boudoir photography, how did that sit with your family, your community, the people that you knew at that time?
There's very controversial and very different opinions. I'm from Mexico. It's a very different culture than American culture. So some people would say, like, you're gonna waste all those years of schooling. You put so many years into schooling and work, and go to the uncertainty. How can you do that? You have a master's degree. Other people, like my mother, for example, thinks that is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Why women need to do that? That's ridiculous. That's stupid. Look at them. They're old. They're fat. They're wrinkly. They have gray hair. It's like, that's ridiculous. And then I have other people that is like, oh my God, I want to look like her. And look at her. She's like 60 and she's like a size 20. Man, if she can look like that. I'm about 10 years younger. I'm a little bit, smaller. It's like, I want to look like her. She inspires me. So it's very different because everybody has their own story and
Mhm.
opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody has their own. So it's very, very different. Most people, thank God, I surround myself with positive people. And,
And
but
that's key. Hmm.
yeah, it's very, very, very key. So most people embrace it, but I have been accused of discrimination, or no discrimination, I'm sorry. I have been accused of promoting obesity. It's like, excuse
Promoting obesity.
obesity because I photograph, plus size women. You're
Oh
encouraging
my.
women and telling women that it's okay to be big and not to get healthy, not to lose weight. It's
You're
like,
helping them embrace who they are as they are. If later on they desire to lose weight because of health reasons,
exactly.
because of wellness, because of their appearance, whatever the reasons,
Mhm.
most importantly, health reasons, but uh, embracing who we are is part of acknowledging ourselves and accepting ourselves. And that's where self leadership comes in. Once you know yourself and understand who you are and where you are in life, it's so much easier to learn to make decisions and to base your decisions on the values that you have as a person, not just appearance. It is
Mhm.
nice to look attractive, it is quite nice,
Absolutely.
and we could go into all the psychological aspects of being attractive and acceptance in the workplace, etc. But that's not the topic for today, and that might be a good topic to bring you back on again a second time. But
Absolutely, because
but
there's a little time of confidence. One thing is
yes.
confidence in the workforce, and we women, we're experts of shielding ourselves behind that type of confidence. And
Mhm.
that was me. I was an expert. Everybody told me, "Oh, you are so confident." But when it came to my self-image, to my self-esteem, my worth as a woman, I have very, very low self-esteem. I just shielded myself behind my title. I have a master's degree and I work in the nuclear industry, and I have accomplished all this. But my self-esteem was completely crushed. It was just a shield. So it's very important to really address that part of our confidence, our body image.
And when it comes to leadership, the research states very clearly that women lack confidence in order to move up to the next level or stage in their workplace. So any women that are able to develop strong levels of confidence and of who they are and embrace themselves totally are usually quite successful, are able to reach higher levels within the leadership group and maintain it, because it's not just getting there, it's staying there. And having to deal then as well with all of the other elements with competing with their male counterparts and so on and
Absolutely.
so forth. But going back to the boudoir session, what would you say is the most difficult aspect of working with clients to complete a boudoir session?
Well, I would say physically, the most difficult part would be probably flexibility,
Oh, really?
which it's a technical aspect. I photograph over 3,000 women, and there's nothing I can't handle. So I'm very, very confident that whatever, whoever you are, however, how old, whatever age you are, and body type and body weight, I got you covered. The hardest part is the emotional psychological part,
Hmm.
definitely the most, because you got to do it for the right reasons. And sometimes, as much as I really want to help women use this to get empowered and more confident and really own their worth, I can't do it all the time because I cannot control. I can be the best photographer in the world, I can give you the best images in the world. It's your job to like yourself,
Hmm.
and it's your job to actually use it to your advantage. and I can't control women. Sometimes it's like, yeah, 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 okay, it's self-esteem and blah blah blah. Here's my credit card, let's do it. And then they go home, they give these pictures for the husbands, and then they call me crying, wanted to cancel the whole order because the husband just makes a horrible comment. And it's like, what do I want
Oh,
for? I can't save them. It's not my job. And for it took me a long time to really get over that because I felt responsible and I feel like I was failing them. But at the end of the day, I have my own coaches that help me through that emotional part because it's very, very emotional. I put so much passion into every single one of my sessions because I had these long conversations with my clients to make sure do it for you. Yes, I know that you have been married for 25 years. Yes, I know that it's your husband's birthday. Yes, I know that you want to surprise him, but do it for you because you cannot control his reaction.
of course.
And sure enough, sometimes it's devastating to see these women crying. It's like my husband or the husband calls me all mad asking to cancel the order. It's like, you know, so that's probably the most difficult part and the most challenging part for me to connect with a woman, with a client, and make sure that you do it for the right reasons. Because if the worst case scenario happens, like that guy calling me fat, you're like, okay, you don't need them, but they're for me.
And when women have image issues and self-esteem issues because of it or because of a combination, it's usually a combination of factors. The people we love the most can be the most cruel, um, and um, and sometimes we don't realize that other people's truths about who we are and how we appear to them is not necessarily our own truth. But if you are not secure and within your power, standing in your power, your truth is unimportant because you don't give it the importance that it really merits at any given time, whether it's a husband, a family member. There will always be people who will criticize. There will always be people who don't appreciate that you're trying new things because they're afraid of trying new things as well. And lots of times partners, when they see that their spouse, whether it's a man or a woman, doesn't matter, um, that they're looking better or feeling better about themselves, this brings on a lot of insecurity for that other partner as well. Um, and the thought of what that might bring to their lives, that their wife or their husband or their partner in general, doesn't matter the sex, the gender, um, that they're looking hot, that they can look hot actually, and she goes shopping by herself, or he goes out to the park and plays ball with his friends, basketball, whatever the case may be. And we start feeling insecure when others around us are improving their lives, are taking steps towards breaking their own glass ceilings, breaking
Yeah.
their own boundaries, just breaking through everything they know and believe in. And that's why it's so hard to do anything like what you're doing. Takes a lot of guts and grace. And all your clients that come to you have guts and grace, even if
Yeah.
it's just for that moment. And I applaud that. Because it is a tough decision, especially if you're not comfortable with your body. Even women who are slim, and you can testify to this and let me know what you think. Even women who are slim and attractive still may have insecurities uh,
Mhm.
while under the camera. Has that ever happened to you, that you've noticed that?
All the time. I get on the phone with clients and they start telling me about how horrible their body is, how non-photogenic, how insecure they are. So I expect to have, a very unattractive woman coming through the door. And then I'm like, it's like, you're so attractive. It's like, what is wrong with you? But again, it doesn't matter. Pain is pain.
Hmm.
And you can be the most beautiful woman in the world. You might still think that you are not beautiful enough. It really doesn't matter what people think. It only matters what you think. We have been conditioned since childhood to believe that we are defined by what other people think of us.
Of course.
And
Mhm.
boudoir photography is an opportunity for us to redefine ourselves, um, on our own terms, because we have been taught to believe that we are as good as our looks, that our worthiness as women is
Yes.
defined by how thin, by how young, how white, how big boobs we are, how good husband, how good mothers, defined by what other people, think that we should be and what we should do.
Yes.
And we live our lives chasing worthiness, and we missed us. And we arrive in a point in our lives in which we don't recognize ourselves anymore. We are so disconnected from ourselves because we have spent decades trying to be what other people think we should be. Good mothers, pouring all our effort into our children, into a relationship in which it's not reciprocated, into our jobs that we don't like because we should, that's our family says that we should like keep this paying job, not our real passion. And it
But
gets to
how do they say? They say, get a real job.
get a real job, exactly.
Yes.
So I think the bravest women are the ones that get to the point in their lives in which they said, enough. I had enough. Now I'm going to try my way. I'm going to find who I am. I'm going to love me and I'm going to do it my way. And I'm going to decide who I am and I'm going to like it on my own terms, not by what you think. And that is true freedom. And a woman that does not need validation from anyone is the most fearless creature in the world.
Absolutely. And cutting through those layers of beliefs that have been piling up is very difficult, and it's work that needs to be done with a lot of women. Even in leadership, women can be really great at what they're doing and yet have a lot of these very same issues that you've mentioned, so many of them at the beginning of our conversation today. Now, uh, just to switch gears a little bit now, and because this is the topic for this year, how did COVID affect your business, and how did you survive the year? Because leadership starts with planning ahead for expected fluctuations, which all businesses have. Different circumstances, some of them are seasonal, there's downtime. But
Right.
when it comes to a humdinger of a circumstance like COVID, what did you do and how did it affect your business?
For since the moment I quit my job, I decided to always have a reserve pile of cash
Mm.
because I didn't have a husband that could pay my mortgage for me, or my rent. And if I didn't have clients, I needed to at least have some backup. So when COVID hit, that they shut down the country, I came to Mexico with my family, and I had reserves to survive, 4
Oh,
months.
good.
Then I was able to obviously get the loan from the government for small businesses, and obviously your stimulus check that obviously helped. But the things kept going and going, and if I'm not shooting, I'm not making any money.
Of
Okay.
course. Mhm.
So, but fortunately, we knew that this was just a matter of time. So what I did, how I survived, is that I invested in more marketing. I kept my cash reserves and I used credit cards in order to reinvest in more in a new coach for marketing. That Because through the whole COVID thing, I do all my marketing through social media, and it changed completely because the people being there changed. Everybody was home,
Of course.
and something very, my marketing stopped working basically. So it's like, what's going on? I was pouring all this money into marketing and there was crickets in the background. So I got myself a new coach. To this day I keep her, and being fearless about, I knew she was the right person for me, and I invested in her, and to completely reinvent the whole marketing until I got it working again. And it took a couple of months. But during the times, if I wasn't shooting, I was on the phone talking to clients, put them in the calendar for future dates, and I was booking
Right.
people for 6, 8 months later, because we couldn't shoot. We couldn't. Everything was shut down. People were afraid. So I didn't shoot for about 8 months. But during those 8 months, I was putting people in the calendar for when things got better. So when I was finally able, that they started to open up the cities and I could get in the planes again safe, even though the vaccine was not happening yet, but the clients were confident. Yes, I want to do my session. We wore masks. I wore masks for shooting. Obviously they couldn't. The makeup artists with, and the people that agreed to do their session, we did their session. So yeah, I basically helped me that I had some reserves. I was not afraid into acquiring some help, debt to reinvent the whole marketing and have a good coach. And I never stopped booking people. And if they felt afraid of doing their session, we just keep rescheduling and rescheduling. So I think every business is different. And in my case, that's how I survived. And right now, I'm recovering because I did acquire a substantial amount of debt. Because with marketing, when you are creating new marketing, you don't know what's going to work. So you had to
Yes.
really pour a lot of resources into that because you need results fast. That means that you got to put a lot of money to get this works. Yes, this works. No, next. You only need to one thing to work. And it's finally happening again. So my calendars, I had a full calendar in July, in June, that I was able to take July
Wonderful.
off. And now I'm going back, 'cause right now I'm in Mexico, and tomorrow actually I'm heading back to United States, and all my August is completely full with clients again. So yeah, I know a lot of photographers struggle, especially the ones that do events like weddings, you know
Yes.
until they reschedule. You can. With studio photography, I was able to it was easier. It was easier because it's a more controlled environment, and it was just one client. It's not the same to do a family portrait or a newborn session in which the mother is afraid of COVID exposure. So pretty much everybody put the
Yes.
photography on hold.
And I love what you said about investing. A lot of people would think I'll hold on to my cash, I'll hold on to my savings. And I did the same thing. I invested in marketing coaches because I never did any marketing at all before. I always got clients through networking, and I think I got one through LinkedIn at some point. But now everything's different. And so I've had to pivot as well, but it was a smart move to make that investment. And a lot of people think, well, that's pretty risky, but that's what business owners do. We take risks. If we can take calculated risk and well thought out risk, and hopefully they pan out to be effective and beneficial for the business. But then again, it's like you said, you try one thing, if it works, and if it doesn't, you move on to the next strategy. And that's how people pivot. And that's how you are a leader of guts and grace. That's what it takes,
Yeah.
especially now in these times. Now, I know you have to leave soon in a few minutes, so I want to wrap up. I still have quite a few questions. Um, the next thing I'd like to know is how does a client get ready for a boudoir session? What should they expect when they reach out? What are the things that they'll be needing to consider?
Um, well, the first thing is there's so many reasons to want to do a boudoir session, and if you just want to have pretty pictures, that's a very valid reason to do it. But definitely don't do it to try to get somebody to like you,
Of
or for your
course,
husband not
yes.
to cheat on you or abandon you. You
Hmm.
do it for you. Or you have a great relationship and you just want to surprise your husband. It's a totally valid reason. Okay. So definitely you gotta do it for the right reasons. Number one. Number two, don't sweat it. You don't need to go on a diet. You don't need to lose weight. You don't need to hit the gym. This is about loving you at any point in your life, not just when you are in the best shape of your life. It's about loving your body at every single moment of your life. And you are beautiful and worthy just as you are. And so that's a very key decision. I'm going to do it now because, like, when I had knee surgery, I gained a lot of weight and I
Mm.
waiting to lose it, but it's like, what if I never lose it? I'm gonna do a session now, and I'm gonna love my body now that it's out of shape. I lost, one leg was bigger than the other, and I
Wow.
lost a lot of muscle mass, and I gained weight, and I have those pictures framed in my bedroom. The biggest size, one of the biggest size that I've ever been, because even though I'm bigger, it's still beautiful. So to remind me that I'm worthy even when my body is not in the best shape. So it's almost like not liking your car because it has a scratch. Hey, you still drive around. Be glad that
Of
you,
course.
right? So
Yes.
that's the
But I
emotional.
appreciate that because sometimes we keep planning for things and postponing things. It's simple things from buying beautiful candles and never lighting them. I mean, just simple things we keep postponing and postponing when we really have to live the here and the now and experience it uh, wholeheartedly with body, mind, and soul. And
And
I
you know,
think that the boudoir photography offers that opportunity. And when people go to your website, Argentina, and see the wonderful things that you do, speak a little bit briefly about the different types of services so that they can start becoming aware of what it is that you offer.
um, before I go into that, let me just tell you this story about a client that I had that she was really struggling to do a boudoir session, and I finally convinced her that today was the right time. And it was great. She embraced the pictures and all that, but she wanted to do that for years and decades, really. But she was always, I'm getting older. And I finally convinced her, it's like, just do it. If you don't like the pictures, let's delete them, like nothing happened. So she did it. And then she was diagnosed with brain cancer and she passed away a year or two later. And the husband just told me, it's like, you have no idea how many years I want her to take these type of pictures and see how beautiful, to see herself through my eyes, what I saw.
Oh,
And the fact that you convinced her, you have no idea how grateful I am, because I don't know where she was gone. Life takes us by surprise. So if
it
this is
sure
what
does.
you want, just do it. Now going to your other question. What was it?
The types of services,
Oh, the type of
the
services, yeah.
packages. I know that
So,
you have the water one, you have like
right.
different types of
I'd like to
services.
do a combination of everything because this is not something that you do every day. So
Right.
the big bulk of any session is what I call the secret diva. And doesn't matter what size you are, everybody goes through the same poses because they work for every body type. And then I throw a little bit of the rest, a little bit of the between the sheets, a little bit of the imply nudes, a little bit of the what do you call it, the finer nudes. And if somebody wants the water diva, that's by request, then we'll do all that. So what's important is that you just show up, bring a few pieces of lingerie, and the rest you just leave it up to me. Trust the expert.
Uh-huh.
um Nothing is ever going to be perfect, so we have to do the best that we can with what we have. I have so many years of experience. I have worked with so many different women, any type of body types, people in wheelchairs, that I don't want to be defined by my wheelchair. I want to look like before I was, stranded in a wheelchair. I want to put my heels on and look like I can actually walk. And the experience of seeing her crying, that is like, yeah, that's how I remember myself. That's how I want to, yeah, I might be in a wheelchair, but I don't want to be defined by my wheelchair. Or
That's
the woman
wonderful.
who was blind from one eye that has no movement. It's like, I want to look normal in my face. So you work extra hard to make sure that the eyes look normal, that, they're going to the same direction. So there's, that's what I said. I don't think and nothing I can handle. Sometimes, I get like, man, that was a hard session. And like, oh my God, I think I'm not going to make it in this one. It's challenging. There's several things that can be very challenging. And then when I look at the pictures, it's like, wow, Jesus, I'm pretty good. It's like that, that was challenging, but that came out great. And then they're like
You
fascinated.
definitely, Argentina, from the work that I've seen, you create magic. It's beautiful, like I said, very refined looking. It's just breathtaking, really. And any woman that wants to feel beautiful, that wants to see themselves as they truly are, because it's just when we get in the mindset, everything's about our emotions and our mindset, how that transpires and just oozes out of us, and Argentina definitely knows how to capture that. Now, Argentina, we're reaching our time here to say goodbye. And is there any special offer available at this time that you'd like the audience to know, or do you just want them to check out the website?
Actually, if you register in my website, there's a place, either you just fill the contact form, or there's just a place where you can register to get my newsletter. The first thing that you're going to get when you start to get my emails is going to be a link to download an article or a workbook. It's called 7 Days to Self-Love.
Mm.
And it's a great workbook because it really makes you think about your life, where your struggle comes from. So you can, by starting to understand where you come from, you start to forgive yourself and realize that it is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to start healing and feeling beautiful and worthy and good enough as you are by your own choice. Doesn't matter what you look like. It's a personal choice. I decide that I am beautiful, even if the rest of the world doesn't think that. I think that Hummers are the most ugliest cars, but I bet the people that buy them think they're the most awesome. So it really doesn't matter what I think. It only matters what the person thinks. So it's a personal choice.
Mhm.
Um, and the boudoir, it's an excellent tool. It doesn't have to be boudoir. It can be something else, but it is a great tool. And if you want to try it, just try it. You're not going to die from it.
Of course not.
But whatever
It'll
you
definitely take you out of your comfort zone.
completely.
Absolutely.
And that, and we all need something that shakes us to the core. Everybody tells me I
Mhm.
want to be out of my comfort zone. We all want to feel alive, and the only way to
Mhm.
feel alive is to face our fears and to say, like, I did that. Oh my God, I did that. I'm an kick-ass woman. That's how we feel alive.
And that's what it's all about, and that's why I was really wanting to have you on the show, because you are an extraordinary woman of guts and grace, for sure. Now give us some final words, Argentina, wisdom regarding leadership and reaching success and maintaining it. What would you share with the audience about that?
One of my favorite quotes that it has helped me tremendously in to put me where I am today. Every single day we are making, and every single moment we're making choices, and we always have to choose between the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. They both suck.
Mhm.
So it is up to us to choose between the pain of discipline and sticking to something if we don't like it to get us to where we want, or the pain of the regret of never having the courage to do what we wanted to do.
I
It's
love that. It's a great quote, and I love the wisdom that it brings. Thank you so much. And again, thank you, our special guest, Argentina Leyva, women's empowerment coach. And we still have to talk more about that piece. But
Absolutely.
I believe it's all connected. Boudoir Photographer and the owner of the Art of Seduction Boudoir in Chicago and in Austin, Texas. Truly a woman of guts and grace. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you. And as I always sign off, much self-love, much compassion for yourself and benevolence. You deserve it. Argentina deserves it. I deserve it. Everyone deserves it. Keep the peace. Thank you again. Until next time for episode 23. Have a wonderful week. Bye, everyone. Bye, Argentina. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.